Welcome back to episode 4 of the Dallas Ballers Club. We got the usual suspects, Bennett,
David.
Clayton.
and boys, we've got a hell of a game to talk about here. Yeah, round of applause for the boys. Not only for us, I'll get to us in just a second, but the story of the week in our Monday recap here. Cowboys win big. A great game. Was 30-10 final. So, and we'll do a full breakdown of the game in as we go on, but an awesome game. We've got a lot to talk about. And before I kick it to Spanky for our newsflash, I wanted to start out. We destroyed our predictions. Holy cow. If you're watching this video, go peep the TikTok. Check out our Twitter, our Instagram. We posted the video everywhere. We had to brag about it. Out of our 6 predictions we had multiple predictions, but we got 6 of our predictions correct. Which was awesome. We may have had the script. Many people are saying that we may have had the script. Jake Ferguson touchdown. Exactly. Jake Ferguson touchdown. Trayvon Diggs interception. Jets having 4 turnovers. Micah Parsons 2 sacks. Osa Odigizua 1 sack. Brandon Aubrey 4 more field goals and a Cowboys cover. So 6 correct picks. Pretty awesome. If we put that into a parlay, gosh, I wish I could see what those odds would have been. We would be in a studio right now if we had hit if we had hit a parlay like that. We would have gotten Spanky out of the Connecticut foxhole, and I would have quit my job. So yeah, we'd be doing it full time. But yeah, with all that being said, the boys are hot. Us and the Cowboys. And let's just get it started. Spanky, you have some news that you want to update us on.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Bennett. Got me hyped up over here. Just starting us off, there's 3 injuries that have been nagging us all season, and we actually have good news to report is Donovan Wilson, Tyler Smith, and Brandon Cooks will be ramping it up in practice Thursday. Mike McCarthy says he wants to get them looks. I personally am a fan of this. Whether they play or not against the Cardinals, I kind of want them to play now. My mentality's kind of shifted. We saw Jordan Lewis come out last week, I guess against the Jets, and play on a snap count in limited minutes. But those minutes are great to get, especially in games where we know we're going to be winning by pretty decisive numbers. So if we could get them out there, 1 of the 3, 2 of the 3, or even better, 3 of the 3, just get them out there, get them on snap counts. Try to shake some of the rust off because we're about to go into a gauntlet of New England and a pissed off Belichick and I'll say a very excited San Francisco 49er team. Other than that, only really one big injury scare was Zach Martin. He came off the field during the late 4th quarter. He said he'll play on if it was a close game. It kind of looked like his ankle got rolled up from under him. Not really sure the severity. The Cowboys haven't leaked anything. Nothing on Twitter surrounding it besides Zach saying he's okay to go. Mike saying he'll probably play next week. Mike never really gives us the surefire answer that we're all looking for anyways, but I wouldn't read too much into it. He finished the game. There's videos of him walk into the locker room. Slight little limp, but nothing like Saquon. So I think we're fine in that department. But other than that, that's pretty much the news. Nothing really to report much.
Okay. So some good news on the injury front. Yeah, I'm not worried about Zach. I mean, we all know he's an Iron Man. God, knock on wood. But the guy, I mean, he's Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent. Not too worried about him. And I am excited to see Stu's Hot Boy of the Week finally make his season debut. That was a tough pick in hindsight, Stu.
You got one right.
Yeah, but you did nail Brandon Aubrey. So, I mean, that's
that.
Arguably more impressive. So,
Yeah,
Thank you
honestly,
guys.
there you
Appreciate
go.
it. Thank you.
yeah. So now let's get into the breakdown here. We're gonna kick it around the horn. I'll just start us off. A 30-10 game, a game where in the first half It was kind of going how we all thought it was going to go. It was closer than it should have been. I mean, from the first half, it looked like a very typical Cowboys game where it's like we just let them hang around. We don't, we have them on the ropes and we just can't put them away. Um, but obviously, came out second half a totally different team, and they dominated. I mean, we shut them out in the second half. And the fact that uh, really the only big thing that happened against us was a very awesome Garrett Wilson play in which he just outran everybody on a Malik Hooker whiff. I mean, it's fine. I'm very, very impressed, but I want to hear more about what y'all have to say. And before we come back to me, Spanky, you want to get us started?
Yeah, I think you can use a lot of adjectives to describe how we played in this game, but it's got to start with Dak Prescott to me. 31 for 38, 255, 2 touchdowns, only sacked once. Thought this defense just shit on Josh Allen. I thought when the bad boys Dak Prescott and co come to town, it's going to be a different story. Nope. Dak and the offense did what I said they would do, where they came out pissed off. And the defense was really the highlight of week one. Defense is still a highlight, but the offense broke that door down and said, we're here. And I'm glad to see Dak Prescott leading by example. After the game, he was asked by a reporter what the interceptions from last year mean. And you know what? Dak's playing with, he has a little bit of an attitude now.
I saw
I'm not
that.
going to lie.
That was awesome.
He brought up his numbers from previous years. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating here. He has a new bad bitch on his hip. I'm just speculating here. But something in Dak's mind, his personality, his mojo, he's playing pissed off. And we're seeing a pissed Rain Dakota Prescott. And we're also seeing a Rain Dakota Prescott use his legs a little bit more. He bailed us out a couple times on a third, second and long situation with his legs. So, overall, Dak came out and you saw what this defense did to Josh Allen last week. Dak came out and threw 31 for 38 for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not to mention, a wide receiver didn't catch any of those touchdowns. It was J-Sap Ferg and Schoonmaker, that second-round pick that everyone was up in arms about. So
our boy.
Yeah, Schoonmaker. Very impressed by her passing performance. CeeDee Lamb has emerged as the player I hope he would with drafting him 4th overall in my fantasy league, despite many of the non-Cowboy fan believers being pissed and Clayton being pissed because he was behind me. But, it's getting overshadowed by a lot of things surrounding the Cowboys, but we're really seeing a different breed of CeeDee Lamb this year. We know he plays with a little bit of swagger, a lot of swagger, if you will, but that high point catch where he knew the safety was coming and got flipped and still hung onto the ball. This was a CeeDee Lamb coming out of college where he was skin and bone. And now we see a different level of CeeDee. We see the Cowboys get the ball to our playmakers, whether it's CeeDee, whether it's Turpin, whether it's whoever, behind the line of scrimmage, we're getting to the ball to them fast, and they make plays. So I'm very excited about that. And despite Clayton not really believing in the kid in the offseason because of the San Francisco injury, Tony Pollard's established himself as a bell cow back. I don't care if you look at his 2.9 yards per carry. 9 of those snaps came within the Jets' 7-yard line. Just to point it out there, 9 of them. So very inflated because of the Jets' goal line defense and the Cowboys' goal line offense red zone offense being pretty abysmal, not going to lie. But very great performance from him. He had 32 touches. Let's let that sink in. He had 32 touches, and our Rico Dowdle had 7 carries. We gave the ball to everyone this game. We dispersed it well. And, teams are going to hone in on CeeDee. They did it last year. They're going to do it again this year. And it's great to see other playmakers step up and really solidify themselves. Can't really talk much about the whole Tolbert season really emerging. He had a couple clutch plays, a couple nice plays, but he just did his job. But other than that, that's really what I got to say about this offense so far.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, talking about, especially with Dak. My whole thing now is Cowboys, obviously our history, America's team, we're going to get a lot of flack. Dak Prescott's got a lot of flack over the past since 2014, 2013. And then, or what, 26? What year did he come? Did he start his first
16.
year? 16. And, but my whole thing here now is Mike McCarthy. I saw a great clip today about Ryan Clark talking this morning from on ESPN on NFL Live, talking about how he is apologizing to Mike McCarthy and how he thinks he's a great play caller. He came out of the gates and called I would say a 95% perfect game. And now the 5% that wasn't great was most likely in the red zone. And we'll talk about that later on. We'll get onto that. But Mike McCarthy played a near perfect play calling game. He looked comfortable. He got those play calls in. I mean, he just gets them in, and then Dak can look with like 20 seconds left on the play clock, and he can scan the field. If he wants to audible, he can audible. We have time. He gets it in quick. He knows what we want to do. And I love seeing that instead of that hesitant bullshit, Kellen Moore stuff that he always used to do. And he'd hate when Dak audible, and Dak would audible, and you'd get mad, stupid slants, blah, blah. But Mike McCarthy looks fantastic. He looks comfortable doing it. And also Dak again. Dak looked comfortable. He averaged 4-yard downfield passes, every pass, 4 yards downfield. That was it. He had a couple, I mean, that one a CD that when you talked about earlier, Spank was awesome, was downfield. But I would say every single time he threw the Pollard was 1 to 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. He looked like he knew his read where he wanted to go before it happened, and he checked down every single time. Like that CD's not open. Okay, I'm gonna check down Tony down here in the flat. He looked great. He looked comfortable. CD looked amazing. And I love how I was very surprised by the Jets not with Sauce and not shadowing CD. Because, I mean, DJ Reed is a good corner, but he's not Sauce Gardner. I mean, Sauce Gardner was rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year last year. He's the real freaking deal. And him not shadowing CD is kind of a bitch move, in my opinion. And obviously, it's the Jets. I think Sauce is not a bitch. He would follow him if he could. It's the Jets defense saying that we're not going to let him follow you. We're not going to go each side. So DJ Reed against CD is a mismatch every single time. And my whole thing about that is that Michael Gallup is going to go up against Sauce Gardner then. He had 1 catch for 3 yards. I'm okay with that. I mean, especially when you have CD have 11 catches, I'm okay with that. But through 2 games, I would like to see a little bit more of Michael Gallup in the play calling scenarios. But I love seeing Turpin. Turpin had 3 touches. I would like to see him get 5 to 7 touches a game, if possible, somewhere around there. You don't want him to get 10 or I don't like 3, but seeing him, he caught a pass, got 2 rushes. I like that. Ferg even got a rush to the 1-yard line. Didn't like the play call, but it's funny.
I think that was Henny.
Was it Henny?
I think so.
It was. Yeah, you're right. It was Henny.
I think it was Henny.
Yeah, it might have been Henny. And that just opens up a little bit more aspect of our red zone play calls that we have, and people have to think, and teams have to think about a little more. So I thought Mike McCarthy was the play called an absolute perfect game that you could possibly call. And he did a great job. And then we'll talk about our defense later, but I mean, all around, I would say 95% of this game was played to perfection.
Not to cut you off, Bennett, from you going on to your segment, but you said something amazing at the start of yours, Clayton, which was Mike McCarthy. You know, last year we got to the line of scrimmage with like 10 seconds to snap the ball. Couldn't audible out of much. Tony Romo on the commentary was raving about how quickly we were in and out of the huddle, in and out of substitutions. And that really divides a good from a great team, is to be able to get to the line of scrimmage, gives us the ability to check a call. We bring a wide receiver in motion. We see what the defense is in, and we move on from there. So I really liked it. I think Mike McCarthy started really showcasing what his play calling talent is. And even if the play calling wasn't there 100% of the time, he brought us to the line of scrimmage where we were playing our game. We let the Jets line up and play against who we are and what our identity is. Instead of, well, we could look at the Chargers game and see they're 0-2, and a lot of their fans are pissed off about 5-yard stop Kellen Moore. So,
yeah. On that note, Chargers fans, we told you so. First of all, and I'm sorry that you guys have to go through that experience, as well as having Brandon Staley as your head coach. I've been there. He has no reason to be still coaching an NFL team after that debacle in the playoffs last year. I mean, no
Zero.
business. I said it the moment that they started losing that game. I said if the Chargers lose this game, he should be fired. But we're not a Chargers podcast, so I'll just leave it at that. But my condolences. You guys are getting the full Kellen Moore experience, and like I said, we told you so. Um, yeah, you guys have pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything so far. Um, they looked awesome. And my biggest takeaway on the offensive side is that and this is something that we've said every year, and we never understood why Kellen Moore never did it, trying to play to Dak's strengths. Dak is at his best when he's up tempo, when it's just quick thinking, getting the ball out quick, and we saw that for the first time yesterday. Obviously against the Giants, didn't have to do that, but yesterday we talked about it on our preview show last week about how ferocious that Jets defense is, and we clearly knew that, and it was just get the ball out quick, get the ball out quick. I mean, I think you said it earlier, David, that Dak got sacked one time against that
Yeah.
defense. So yeah, he gets sacked one time. He was making very, very quick decisions. And I did see a graphic tweeted out. I don't know if y'all saw it. It was like the next gen stats graphic of Dak Prescott's passing chart yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, and the grand majority of his snaps are literally within 10 yards or at the line of scrimmage. And especially with the personnel that we have, where you have guys that if you just give them the ball in space, that they're going to be able to do stuff after the catch and make plays like CD, like Deuce, like Ferg, like Turp. You give the ball to those guys, you let them do what they do and just be great out in space, and it's awesome. For the first time ever, again, outside of as we've already harped on, the red zone play calling, which was a little questionable. Um, I really, really liked what I saw, especially against that defense. And the thing that kills me is just, oh, all people could talk about last week was just, oh, yeah, Jets defense, Jets defense. Oh, they made Josh Allen look terrible. We're not going to hear anything about, oh, Dak Prescott played a great game against a fantastic defense. We can sit here till we're blue in the face and scream, oh, Dak played a great game against a great defense. No one cares. No one cares.
Mhm.
I mean, we understand that. Um, and I mean, again, we're all believers. I mean, poor Dak, man. I don't know what he has to do outside of not having a star on his helmet to be loved, but he looked awesome yesterday. I'm very, very happy with how he looked. And to all the haters out there, we're 2 games into the season. He hasn't thrown a pick yet against one elite defense and one defense that's, I mean, on paper should be pretty good.
Above
So
average.
yeah,
Sauce should have had one though. I mean that was
yeah,
an interesting throw by him on that sideline throw.
That was the
He should have
one
had
yeah,
one,
bad
but
decision he made
that
all
was a
game,
one
really.
agreed.
one bad
One
decision he made
bad
all game.
decision. And
Yeah,
I saw the next gen stats as well, Bennett. But we're just taking what the defense gives us. And
exactly.
if they're giving us those dump off passes and the check down passes and we're
We'll
getting
take
the
it.
balls into our playmakers' hand, yeah, we'll take it. When they
Yeah,
start pressing us and when they start playing closer, just wait till Rain Dakota Prescott drops 450 yards passing. He's done it before.
Mhm.
we know he
You
can
know,
do
if
it.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you want to play in our face, we'll go over top. But if you're going to sag off and dare us to pass it, do checkdowns because you don't believe in Dak Prescott, okay, we'll do it. I'm
Yeah,
perfectly fine.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, if people used to always make the meme about Russ saying like, "Let Russ cook," let that cook. I mean, he did it yesterday. 31 completions. I mean, 2 touchdowns, no picks. For play calling is a little better. Maybe he's got a couple more touchdowns, but
Yeah.
not too much to complain. I mean, we're splitting hairs here, trying to find flaws because I mean that's what we're here for. We're not going to be the just, always, everything positive. I mean, there's always something to improve upon, and that's, I mean, the Cowboys know that as well. Um, so I'm really excited to see what we got going forward. Um, and especially going into this week against Arizona should be a layup.
Are we
Cardinal,
12 and a half point favorites? 12 and a
yeah,
half?
yeah, and we'll definitely discuss that more on Wednesday. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'll just leave it at that for Arizona. But um, kind of just wrapping up. are talking about the offensive side of the ball, I want to get y'all's offensive performers of the week. I feel like we have two that are very obvious. We've already talked about a lot, but yeah, Spanky, you want to get us started? Who is your offensive performer of the week?
It's number 4.
Yep.
You said it. There's two that's obvious. I'll let you guys cover the other more obvious one, but it's got to be 4. I mean, he's the captain of our team. He's the leader of our offense. It's 4.
I'm trying to decide if I want to let you, Bennett, take it or if I just want to take it.
Just take it. Just take it.
Okay, I'll take
I got one.
CD. Okay, cool. CD. He like Spanky talked about earlier, that play where it was in the middle of the seam and that safety's coming down, he knows he's gonna get hit, gonna get clipped, and he took it hell on the ball. He does look bigger, he's faster, he's stronger. He is the best wide receiver in the NFC East. I don't care what anybody else says. There's no reason why he should not be number 1 in the NFC East. And people are saying AJ Brown, dude's complaining on the sideline.
Diva.
He's calling his quarterback a bitch. He called his quarterback a bitch. And when Trayvon did it in training camp.
Here's another hot take. Devontae Smith's better than AJ Brown. That's on me. That's on me. I don't care. I'll say it. But CD is that passing game looks so consistent, and CD looked open. Okay, so last year we talked about how our wide receivers did not have a lot of space between the defender and our receivers.
Yeah.
CD had 2+ yards of space each time he touched the ball in his hand. And I love seeing that, and especially with how good he is in the open field. I don't know what his stats about his after the catch yardage was. I think it was pretty high, maybe not as high as it used to be because he did get tackled a little bit after he got hit, after he caught the ball. But CD was the reason why we were able, especially that first drive, go down the field, just pound him in the ground with CD Lamb. It was fantastic. CD's the player of the game, offensive player of the game.
I love it. So yeah, I mean, y'all both hit the nail right on the head. Those were the two obvious ones to anyone with eyes and a brain that watched that game. I'm going to give some love to the big boys. Dak Prescott sacked 1 time this week. Running game was solid. Not great. It was solid. But against that defense, that's all you need. But yeah, shout out to the big boys. They looked good. Even when what's his name? Edoga went down, Richards and TJ Bass stepping in. Offense didn't miss a beat. Good for them. Maybe our offensive line is a little deeper than we thought. I don't know, but that's just something to think about. But again, shout out to the big boys. Keeping Force safe. There was a lot of times where Dak was dropping back, and I was getting Romo flashbacks. I think of those Romo games in 2014 where he would just drop back at MetLife Stadium, and he just has like what feels like an eternity to just go through his progressions, dissect the defense, doesn't have to move around. He's pointing guys out, making plays. And I was getting deja vu watching that yesterday. There was a couple plays where they showed like the wide angle from behind Dak, and they just showed the space that he had to work with. It was awesome, especially against that defense. It was awesome.
Another thing is the time of possession in this game. We had the ball for 42 minutes, 15 seconds. The Jets had it for 17 minutes, 45 seconds.
Wow.
And that's what happens when you run. How many times do you run the ball? How many carries do we have? 44 rushes, I think is what it was.
Yep.
That's what happens when you can run the ball 44 times, and then say you have a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and you're kicking out the Pollard in the flat, and he's getting 5 yards to the first down. I mean, it wasn't like we're getting big chunk plays. Another thing I want to point out real quick is I think the play of the game was that CeeDee Lamb slant when we're in the on the Cowboys territory in the 7-yard line, something like that. And Biotis is coming out of nowhere. CD fumbled, and Biotis just hops on that.
Oh, yeah.
Right on the football. I mean, that was the play of the game because the Jets get that ball, and Biotis is not hustling his butt down the field like he is and catch up with CD. That's the Jets ball, and they can make it a closer game. That was early in the game, and I thought that was the play of the game. We went down and kicking a field goal. And instead, that was probably a 10-point swing, maybe at least in a 6-point swing if Biotis does not do that. And it was early in the game, so who knows what happens after that. But the play of the game for me was Tyler Biotis going down the field, hustling his ass off, and jumping on that fumbled football. That was awesome to see.
I love it. I love it. More love to the big boys. Um, so now that we've covered that side of the ball, let's go ahead and shift over to defense. It was a good performance. Shut them out in the second half. I don't want to steal too much of y'all's thunder. I know y'all have some stuff for the defense, so we'll get to that in a second. But I was very impressed with the defense. Had me a little nervous there for a second. Um, kind of thought Zach Wilson was turning into Johnny Manziel for a second. Um, but yeah, Spanky, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, other than a big chunk play that we said we had to limit in the preview show last week, our defense is just, I mean, the Cowboys Twitter even posted the best in the nation. And I don't think that's an understatement. I think the league's on notice now. I think the only two defenses that come remotely close to the Cowboys is the San Francisco 49ers. And I bet you guys can't guess my other team. It's the Cleveland Browns defense as well. I believe both of those defenses are just have top-notch guys in every asset of the game, whether it's the Browns having Myles Garrett, they have Owusu Kamara, who is an absolute stud of a linebacker. And they also have, what's his freaking face? Ohio State corner.
Denzel Ward.
Yeah, Denzel Ward. I mean, and which one of those defenses gave up 23 to a Cooper Cupless Rams team? Not the Cowboys. So I mean, it's hard to not sit here and bang the table saying Micah Parsons is just the best player in the league. I mean, I think you could even put quarterbacks in the conversation, and Micah's still top 5. He impacts the game more than anyone I've ever seen before. Yes, he might not be, and I'll say this, he might not be the best, quote unquote, absolute pass rusher. He might not be the best in that regard, but he's the best in being able to impact the game in every facet of defense, whether it is tracking ball carriers, helping on screenplays. Shit, drop him back in coverage, and I bet he's a top 5 off-ball linebacker if he wanted to be. I mean, it's just amazing to see. Osa has taken this absolute leap this year. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it's teams not being able to hone in on the third guy anymore, but man, he's looking great. And the only bad part about Osa last year was run stopping, and this year he's been great. I mean, pairing him next to Hankins or Mozzie, I'm perfectly fine. You know, when we start dropping it off to like Gallimore and Chauncey Golston, that's when you'll see teams start to gash us in the run. But when Osa and fucking what's his face? Oh, blanket Hankins. When Osa and Hankins are on the field, it's amazing. And I think Hankins is one of those guys that he will never appear in the headlines ever unless he, for some reason, got a fumble return to the touchdown end zone and Dallas Times snaps a photo of it. But he's a game wrecker inside. You know, a lot of people not too long ago kept bringing up cornerback receiving yard stat on a certain number 7 on our team. And I don't see that stat appear anymore on Twitter, on NFL Network, on First Take. Have you heard a peep of quarterback yards allowed? I haven't. And I'm pretty active on Twitter. So
I saw it today.
What corners?
Trayvon.
Oh, the 0 allowed?
Well, for the season, he's only surrendered 8 catches for 26 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he is impacting the game. Yeah, impacting the game, being a ball hawk, and impacting the game, being a lockdown. The touchdown is partially on Gilmore and partially on Hooker. I'm not really sure if that's kind of one with the rule changes where Hooker's afraid to really lay out Garrett Wilson. It kind of looked like he chugged down a little and was afraid to really lay him out because he didn't want that 15. But you know, we'll just chalk it up as their chunk play of the game. But other than that, we just completely dominated. Breece Hall held in check. Dalvin Cook stripped by the best player in football. Marquise Bell 8. You know who I really haven't heard much about was Van Der Esch or Damone Clark.
I was going to bring that up. I had that written down.
I'll let you get
But
to
I
that.
I don't think you can talk about them just because when they ran the ball, they would go a lot of east and west,
Yeah,
and that's where Micah and DeMarcus just eat. You can't go
yeah,
east and west in this team. I'll talk about it in a
yeah.
minute. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No worries. But I find it really interesting what DQ's doing on defense. And there's certain pass rush packages or even early down packages where I see Van Der Esch line up on the line of scrimmage in a 2-point stance. And that's totally new. Is that Van Der Esch's best position? Probably not. If I were to guess, probably not. But we're using our guys in such different packages that when these offensive line coaches and offensive coordinators on the other teams need a game plan for our defense, it's like, where do you fucking start? Where do you start on trying to analyze the packages that we put out, analyze where our players are on the field? Micah's lining up on the center, on the guard, on the tackle. It doesn't matter. We're just game wreckers on that side of the ball. Other than just one fluke chunk play, good job, Garrett Wilson fantasy owners. I mean, this defense is elite.
It is. I'm going to start out with this stat that I saw today. It's about Trayvon Diggs. He has a quarterback has a passer rating of 1 when targeting Trayvon Diggs. If you were to throw the ball into the ground every single time as a quarterback, you would have a 39 passer rating.
That's insane.
Just put that in perspective for how good he's been this year to start the season. All right, so I brought up earlier, Spanky, talking about DeMarcus, and I want to talk about DeMarcus and Micah. Their rush defense, here's another stat for y'all. DeMarcus ranks first out of every defensive end in rush defense as a grade of a 91.2. Number 2 is Micah Parsons with a 90.7. Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall were non-existent. They had a total of 8 carries, I believe, 4 and 4.
9 carries.
9 carries. Okay, 9 carries, and they looked terrible. My whole thing is they tried to go east and west a lot instead of going. I think the weakness in the Cowboys defense, and it might not be a weakness at all, it's you can beat us going up the middle through. If you have good guards and a good center, you can beat us going up the middle. Going east and west, you can't. Like I said last week when we started this, we are the fastest defense in NFL history. Especially with Mike and DeMarcus, is how good they are at the rush defense. You can't possibly beat them side to side. You just can't. And then obviously our corners love to hit too. Stephon Gilmore led our team in tackles with 5, which is kind of crazy to think about that only a leader had 5 tackles. But Spank, you said it. LVE had 4 total tackles and Damone Clark had 1 total. So our 2 linebackers had 5 total tackles this week. It also doesn't hurt when you have your defense on the field for only 17 minutes and 45 seconds. So, I mean, you got to look at stuff like that as well. But you never heard their name called. You talked about the 2-point stance by LVE, and then you have Micah line up over the center. I like that. I like seeing that. You're mixing stuff up. I think that's really cool. I don't know if it's the best, like you said, the best possible place for LVE, but I like how these new wrinkles are coming into this game. And obviously, you have the interceptions by our secondary. Secondary just looks fantastic. They look elite. Don't think the Jets have a great, outside of Garrett Wilson, have a great just a supporting cast around him. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, our defense is just ridiculously good. It's so fun to watch, man. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is I mean, by the time we get to the end of the season, if they keep this up, we're gonna sound like a broken record. But I mean,
Yeah, we really are.
you absolutely nailed it. This defense is so fun to watch. I think, and we said it last year, but I feel like it's even this year more than last year, is that this is the first time in our lives as Cowboy fans where I think right now I have more confidence in our defense than our offense. And that's not a knock on our offense, like that I don't have confidence in them, because I absolutely do. But when our defense goes out on the field, I'm like 3 and out, or forcing a punt. We'll give up 1 or 2 first downs, punt, or long field goal, give them a hard decision to make, 4th and long. Like it's so awesome to watch this defense. And I didn't really pick up on the Van Der Esch 2-point stance thing. That's a really awesome little tidbit there. But and Stu, you also mentioned, I mean, it just speaks to the creativity by Dan Quinn, and it's awesome. I mean, the I would love to be a fly on the wall when Dan Quinn is coming up with his game plans for the week. It like just the different things that he comes up with, and the players on the Cowboys have been saying it for years. It's that DQ puts them in positions to be great. That's why Micah loves him. That's why Trayvon loves him. That's why everyone loves playing for this guy, is that he puts guys in positions to go out and do what they do. Like it's so awesome to watch. This defense is coming out humming on all cylinders. And I do I guess we probably won't get our first look at a really good offense until week 5. Um, I mean, who knows? Cardinals are kind of like weirdly a frisky 0-2 team.
Yeah, they're like a sneaky little team, aren't they?
Yeah, if like they're just like that gum on the bottom of your shoe, like they just won't go away. Tough loss for them this week, but we'll touch more on that later. New England week 4, not even that bad. We'll talk about that when we get um to next week. But yeah, dude, it's this defense so awesome, so awesome. I mean, I'm trying to come up with something that you guys haven't already said, and I
Mhm.
I I really can't. I mean, I'm still at a loss of words for how good this defense is. 8 quarters of football, 10 points allowed. Uh, what 10 sacks, and how many turnovers did we force? Like 5, 6.
Forced
Something
4
nuts.
yesterday, and then forced 1.
Three
You
times.
count a blocked field goal as a turnover. You don't count that as a turnover, so
Well,
just
well,
1.
no, because we
Gilmore,
had Gilmore pick,
Gilmore,
Diggs forced
Bland,
fumble, Bland pick.
our
Yeah,
entire
Crap. I mean,
our entire starting
jeez.
yeah. Where were
secondary.
you week 1, man? We talked
Yeah,
about
I forgot about it
it.
already. Jeez.
No, but
Yes, we have. So Spicky was going to say our whole entire starting secondary has an interception.
Besides
except
Donovan
for
Wilson,
Wilson, yeah,
and he's hurt.
Wilson, he hasn't
and
played.
he's hurt. He hasn't played yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is insane. I mean, if they can keep this up, watch out at NFL. Spanky already said it, best defense in the NFL. So with that being said, we've kind of talked about the unit as a whole. Um, Same thing that we did on offense. I want to get y'all's defensive standouts of the week, the stars of the week, the hot boys. Spanky, I know you've been thinking about this one for a while, so why don't you get us started here?
I'm gonna let one of you guys go into 11 because I took 4. But I'm gonna go off the beaten path here. I'm gonna choose J-Ron Curse. He got
Love
his
it.
pick. He
Nice.
got his pick. And not gonna lie, he looked more athletic on the return than I could have possibly imagined.
Yeah, he did.
Um,
Yeah, he did.
he's just that vocal leader on our defense, and a guy I give a lot of credit to for giving our defense its identity. Still looks weird. I thought
Tall Kelvin
Bossman,
Joseph.
yeah, I thought Bossman Fat got an interception at first, but then reality sunk in, and I woke up from a dream. So, J-Ron Curse is my hot boy of the week.
So I'm gonna go with. I'll let you take it since I took it last time. Bennett against with CD. I want to go with
Yes.
Trayvon Diggs. He just looks more comfortable than he did last year. His footwork looks better. He doesn't look like. I think that the one issue that I think Tony brought up was that Garrett Wilson did beat him on that awesome Malik Hooker interception. I mean, that was well played by Malik Hooker.
He was on the
Um,
opposite hash and caught it on the far sideline.
and they
Yeah.
never showed the replay of Garrett Wilson beating Trayvon, I don't think. So, like, whatever, I'm going to believe Tony what he said, but Trayvon, his footwork looks better. He's still going to get beat on those double moves and those slant and goes and those stop and go. He's going to get beaten those. But if he gets more interceptions than he gets beat with on those, I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm okay with that. He looks more comfortable. He looks like he's headhunting as well. Like he wants to go out and make tackles. He looks like he wants to hit people. He looks more comfortable, and I'm really proud of how he's played the past 2 games. I think he's gonna have a really big season. I can't wait to see it. Play of the game, defense.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Stu, leaving me
Yeah,
the one. I mean, we all know. Staying out of the game, Michael Parsons. Best player in football. I mean, I don't. I'm running out of words to describe. I was texting with my dad yesterday during the game, and him and I we were talking. We were just like, I'm running out of words to describe how good Micah Parsons is.
Mhm.
Every time I think he can't do something incredible. Well, not that that's ever a thought, but every time you're like, oh, I haven't heard Micah's name, in a couple series. There he is doing something insane, whether it's a pressure, whether it's forcing a fumble, whether it's getting a sack in literally the time it takes to blink your eyes. I mean, the guy is incredible. He's the most talented football player I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, and that's not an exaggeration. He is so good. I don't want to harp on it too much because I'm sure we'll be talking about him a ton throughout this season. But I mean, the obvious defensive standout of the week: 2 sacks and a forced fumble yesterday. Number
And he got
11,
screwed out of a touchdown,
and he did get screwed out of a
which
touchdown.
I think that
Where
Bogus,
rule is stupid.
bogus.
he snapped a wide receiver's ankles on the run back, man.
He
Yeah,
did.
He
it was
snapped a
hilarious.
wide receiver's ankle.
He left Lazard's ankles at midfield. I mean, that was awesome.
I mean, I don't understand that rule. How it New York Jet has to touch him. He didn't touch him. His leg hit Micah's leg, and that's rolled down.
It's so dumb. Like
whatever.
it was by chance that he just like flailed his leg and hit him. Like
Exactly.
when that play happened, and I'm sure y'all thought this too, was holy shit, this is the Bears game from last year all over again.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and I mean, Micah used to play running back in high school, and it's so funny when he gets the ball in his hands because you can tell. Like
Yeah.
his return last year against the Bears, where he was putting the moves on guys, and yesterday, like Spanky said, he juked Lazard back to Green Bay. Like, I mean, it was awesome. It was so awesome. Um, so that's our game recap. We're gonna transition into a little segment here. This is our stat corner of the game. So just some interesting stats that we have that we want to broadcast out there. Spanky, why don't you kick us off?
If you're a stat junkie like I am, you would appreciate it. But I ask you to bear with me on this one because there's a lot of buildup here. The Giants pass block win rates versus the Cowboys. Evan Neal, 88%, 32nd in the league. Andrew Thomas, 88%, 32nd in the league. Evan Neal, 70%, 59th in the league. John Michael Schmitz, 90, 18th. Giants offensive line win rate against the Cardinals. Andrew Thomas didn't play, but his backup got an 89% win rate. Can assure you, Andrew Thomas backup doesn't post
90 plus easily.
Yeah.
For if Thomas plays, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. John Michael Schmitz ranked the number one center in pass block win rate with 100% against the Cardinals. And Evan Neal jumped up 23 points to 93.1%, ranking him 15th. I say this because the Jets, Mekhi Becton, 47th with a 75% win rate. Dwayne Brown, 54% win rate. Those are the tackles. That's out of 54 qualified tackles. They had the 47th and 54th against the Cowboys. Out of the guards, out of 56, Elijah Vera Tucker,
who's very good.
Yeah, 88%.
Okay.
Ranked him 36th in guards. Tomlinson, don't even know his first name, 84 with a 45, ranking 45th. McGovern at center, out of 27 centers that have played thus far, ranked 27th with a 79% win rate. The Cowboys' defense is the Thanos Superstone, where Thanos puts it into his gauntlet and goes like this because we are inevitable. We are inevitable. That's the thing. Like, we turn these units and we bash them. We kill them. You said it before, Burke. Credit to the big boys up front. Here's another stat for you. Out of the previous 2 games, Tyron Smith has had 68 pass blocking snaps. 1 pressure, 1 penalty, 0 hits, 0 sacks. Chuma Edoga, 55 pass rush snaps, 3 pressures, 2 hits. It's our backup left guard. 3 pressures, 2 hits. Tyler Biadasz.
God, you can't say that name.
Yeah, for the life of me. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
70 pass blocking snaps, 2 pressures.
Wow.
Zach Martin, 69, good number, pass blocking snaps.
Nice.
One pressure. Terrence Steele, 71 pass blocking snaps, 3 pressures, 2 hits, and 2 pre-snap penalties. Crazy. 2 false starts on the Steele. Crazy. They faced the likes of Quinnen Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari, Carl Lawson. Just name out the players they've played. And we've put up numbers. And for my last stat of the day, I'm sorry to bore you guys.
No, this is great.
DeMarcus Lawrence currently ranks second among edges in pass rush win rate at 30.8%.
In the league?
What did you say? In the league. In the league, he ranks second. Clayton, didn't you say something that DeMarcus Lawrence was the best run-stopping defensive?
Yeah, he got a grade of 91.2.
Okay. So there's a case to be made that is feasting. And we still haven't seen it on the stats sheet. So,
You called this past 2 years talking about DeMarcus Lawrence being the best run stopper in the league. And now with Micah Parsons on the opposite side, they talk about triple teaming. And they did triple team Micah yesterday. If y'all noticed, they got some running backs, some tight ends chipping him a little bit. Yeah. DeMarcus is eating on the opposite side of him. It's whenever you have him by himself, DeMarcus against a right tackle or left tackle, it's disgusting, and you're going to get beat. He is on another level as well as Micah Parsons. If we didn't have Micah, we'd be talking about DeMarcus Lawrence just as much as we're talking about Micah.
For sure. And I guess we'll switch into our next segment.
Okay.
Sorry to bore the people. Do you have a stat?
No, I actually didn't have a stat, and I'll just make this quick. But it was a tweet that I saw. This is from Ernie on Twitter at ES3_09. He's like a big Cowboys fan. He had a tweet that I really liked, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, but and Chargers fans, I'm sorry, but he hit the nail right on the head. God, I need to find a new saying. I say that way too much. Anyways, he said the issue with Kellen Moore's offense was he wanted to run very long developing plays with wide receivers outside of Lamb who weren't capable of getting open. Brian Schottenheimer running his West Coast offense in Dallas allows wide receivers to get open quickly, ball comes out of Dak's hands quickly, and it protects the O-line from having to hold up longer than usual, which is spot on. I mean, I talked about it at the beginning. Sorry, Chargers fans. But that was always the issue with Kellen Moore. Always has been. He loves to play into the, boy wonder, football prodigy genius that comes up with these all like elaborate ass schemes. It's like, dude, just keep it simple. Play to your quarterback strengths. I just never understood it. And Schottenheimer, McCarthy, they know what they have in Dak, and they're not trying to make him do something that he's not as good at. Like, why? It just doesn't make sense. Like, you have $40 million quarterback. Why would you not try to play to his strengths? So that was my spiel. Spanky, what do you got?
Just moving us into the great, the good, and the bad. Normally it's the good, bad, and ugly, but there isn't much ugly in the Cowboys right now. It's hard because there's 3 possible parts I want to give the great to. It is, but I'll just give it right away to the trenches. Our trenches, you win and lose games in the trenches. Our offensive line is playing phenomenal. And our defensive line is, I mean, you guys all seen it. I don't need to hit the nail on the head again, like Burke would say. But, it's just great. I'm running out of adjectives. The good, I would say, is our passing on both sides of the ball. Either our receivers and our passing game on offense or our pass defense our pass defense. I mean, our corners are playing phenomenal. We said a stat earlier. Every single one of our secondary starters has a pick. Dollars. And I would say the bad of the week. That's hard. Not a lot of bad to be found. I guess the only bad I would say was in certain situations on Garrett Wilson, Stephon Gilmore didn't look his best. But I mean, that's really, we're just splitting ass hairs trying to find something that's bad. It's not really much bad, but it's a couple plays. Gilmore was lost, got beat pretty bad. We know he doesn't have his top end speed anymore, but a lot of credit needs to go to Hooker to come across the middle and down the middle of the field. So that's it for me.
The great for me is going to be Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy. I'll just go in case Ben wants to take it. I'm going to take Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is.
Can you put Schottenheimer in there too?
Just I'll put Schottenheimer, but he's the one that schemes the play, and McCarthy is one that calls our plays. I'm going off of Mike McCarthy calling our plays and how good he looked calling our plays. That's my grade. Schottenheimer, obviously, he puts the schemes together, and they look fantastic. Sorry to not mention him, Brian. Apologize. Good job, Spanky, for that one. So Mike McCarthy is him calling our plays. He looks fantastic. He looks comfortable doing it. He hasn't been doing it for the past, 3 years now since he left Green Bay? Maybe 4 years. I forgot when he left Green Bay. The good, I'm going to go with our DBs. Spanky already said it. They look good. I want to say great. They look fantastic. That's my good though. It's the interceptions. I like seeing INTs. And the bad's going to be the red zone offense. There's some fine tuning we need to do. It's only game 2, so it doesn't. We don't know exactly yet, but through 2 games we haven't looked. That's our biggest weakness, in my opinion, at this point in time on offensive side of the ball. So I think the bad is the red zone offense, and we need to adjust some things. I don't mind the play calling, except for the time when we had the ball on the 1-yard line and we never ran it.
Yeah, that's 4 runs.
That frustrated me. It should be 4 runs exactly, Spanky.
Can we just pick up that damn fucking Eagles play? Can we just do that?
You said it yesterday. I don't understand why we don't.
Can we just fucking do that? Yeah.
Just go right behind Zach Martin.
Jalen Hurts could bench 500 pounds. Prescott took a Mississippi State team to the number 1 spot in college football with his legs. He could do it.
So I didn't understand that. I'm with you, Spanky. I don't understand why we haven't at least why we didn't do that. Hopefully we're saving it. I hope we just have a game-winning touchdown against the Eagles on the 1-yard line. We just do the whole push thing and Dak scores and we win the game. That's foreshadowing, boys. We have the script. And that's my great, good, and bad. That's my great, good, and bad of the week.
Yeah. So I'll try to keep it shorter. The great. This one I'll talk a little more about. Dak Prescott, great. I've already talked about it a bunch. I got his jersey hanging up right here for a reason. That's my guy. That's our guy. This is a Pro 4 podcast. Let's go ahead and put him up real quick. Yep. 4 is up for 4. This is a Pro Dak podcast. And when he looks great, we're going to give him his flowers as he should. He looked great. We already talked about it a bunch. My good of the week. My good was good for Jake Ferguson. Good for him.
I like it.
Yeah, good for Jake Ferguson. Again, Riz God, dating a Cavender. And he scored a touchdown, like I predicted. Good bounce back game for him. He looked solid. Again, not worried about the tight end room at all. Great, Dak Prescott. Good for Jake Ferguson. Bad, we've already talked about it, but the inability to finish drives against good teams, that is going to kill us. I love that your Brandon Aubrey pick hit. It was so out of left field. Absolutely awesome that hit. But I think we can all agree
that in the red zone.
Exactly. I think we can all agree we would have been a lot happier had that not hit.
Correct.
Or if it hits, but we put up 70 points.
Exactly.
And it's just we didn't want to. We have Trey Lance getting snaps, and we didn't want to, pour it on like, oh, we'll just kick a field goal. Like, it's like, good for Brandon Aubrey. I'll throw him in the good as well. Good for Brandon Aubrey.
He's
great
got a
week for
boot.
him. Does have a boot. Absolute.
He made that
Python
kick
volley.
from 70, bro.
Yeah.
He made that kick from 70.
Yeah. And he's an awesome story too. Brandon Aubrey. Hopefully future friend of the pod. We don't have to have you on. Just throwing that out there for a kicker.
Answer DMs, Brandon. Come on.
Yeah. Sign the contract.
Yeah, same with you, John Way.
Yeah. Well, he would probably help if you called him by his actual name, Wanye, but
same thing.
Yeah, for all the listeners out there, Spanky, not a names guy. Not a names guy.
I'm
Tyler
a stats guy, not a
he's,
names guy.
He still can't say Tyler Biadasz, and he made the Pro Bowl last year. Like, he still can't do it. It's just never going to happen.
Tyler Biadasz.
Yeah. But yeah, so just to circle back, my bad for the week, inability to finish drives against good teams. It'll hurt. Didn't matter this week against Zach Wilson, but it's not a concern yet. But I'll say it's something to keep an eye on.
Like and that. I guess we'll move on to our next section, cover zero, kind of where the boys just kind of let some takes fly.
Let's wrap it up with some heat.
Yeah. Before we get there, though, I just want to preface this. I guess this is me looking at it with a glass half full mentality. I'm hoping it's just preseason play calling for kind of getting that rust off for McCarthy in the red zone. Keep in mind, he hasn't called plays in a while. Red zone's a different animal. We're already up big. Why kind of showcase our money-making touchdown plays until we need them? Let's try new things. We're getting points no matter what. And let's get Brandon Aubrey some reps. Let's get him some game kicks, Let's get him some momentum. You saw what our kicker without momentum looked like last year in the playoffs, so let's get our kicker some good momentum. But, for my take of the week, or I guess of the episode, I'm just going to say this. The Dallas Cowboys own the trenches in the NFL.
Boom. Boom.
Boom.
Love it.
I'm going to go more a broader statement of the whole entire NFL ever all time. The Dallas Cowboys will finish the year with the most defensive touchdowns of all time.
Whoa.
The Micah Parsons one made me think of it. But if he didn't get touched, that's number 2. We have one already. And special teams kind of goes in with that.
I was just going to say, does special teams count with defense?
It should.
I don't know. It should.
It counts in fantasy. It should.
And that was more of a blocked field goal.
I want to know what the official record is. That'll be something that we look up later.
But I want to look into it.
A kick return shouldn't be defense, but a blocked field goal for a touchdown should be defense.
Agreed.
Yes, I agree. I'm with you on that. So that's my cover zero take, I guess, of the year, because I think it's going to be, or of all time, they're going to finish the most defensive touchdowns ever.
So I just looked it up. Oh, okay, never mind. That's not it. The most team defensive touchdowns in a season is the. Okay, well, this says interception touchdowns. The 1961. Yeah, we'll find that later. Not important. My hot take for the week, and this is one that Shannon Sharp was here. He would strike me down. Stephen A was here. He would also strike me down. I think y'all know where I'm going here. Dak is back, and to further pinpoint what I mean, Dak Prescott has firmly cemented himself this season thus far, top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Love it.
That's my
Boom.
That's my cover zero.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. Dak is back.
Boom.
Yeah. All right. Well,
just as we're talking about defensive touchdowns, the Steelers just scored a defensive touchdown. Interception return. Oh, nice.
Forgot there's 2 games today. Yeah, gotta get to that. Gotta get to that. All righty. Well, that about wraps it up for our week 2 recap. Cowboys win 30-10. Boys, red hot on the player picks. Make sure you're here Thursday, Friday for a week 3 preview. You're gonna want to tune in.
Some really good picks.
We may have the script this week as well. Who knows? We can't confirm nor deny. Might have the script. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. For everyone out there listening, thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for joining us today. And we will see you later this week.